Welcome, everyone, to the Vocal Honey podcast. And I have a very, very special guest with me today. She is an end of life or death doula. Death is one of those things we don't talk about. And in Vocal Honey, we talk about the things we don't talk about. We unmute on life. And so there's no bigger topic, I think, more appropriate that feels like we can't talk about it and we should, which is death. So, Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's talk about what
Mhm.
is a death doula?
Yes. So, an end of life doula, death doula, end of life educator, what have you, is a non medical support person for someone who's terminal and or their family. So, someone that can work in conjunction with hospice or palliative care teams to just be an additional support and source of education for the person and the family, and to often continue the journey with the person and their family beyond those services, right? Or when the person has passed, how to keep their legacy going, how to work with the families who are experiencing the grief and the loss, which can often take years to process.
How on earth did you know that this was a job for you?
I experienced death at a very young age. I had a few family members pass relatively quickly at a young age, and we thankfully were allowed, as children to be involved with that family member passing and being, not being shielded from those difficult conversations and, going to the funerals, helping them care, for care when they're in the hospice or even dying within their home, our home. And it was really beautiful. I feel like my grandmother really helped my initial relationship with death. That was my first impression of death, and it left a lasting and positive impact on me. While she was alive, she would take me around to our family's grave sites, ancestors, really, people I have never met, and I think some people she had never met as well. And we would picnic on their gravestone and talk about them
Really?
and their families,
Wow.
who they are. We would just catch up. We would pack a lunch, and there's this one core memory I have of being at the cemetery where we were picnicking. We had the blanket, we had talked about the person, and then this family of deer walked up to us that were, walking around the cemetery, and it was just beautiful. It was a connection with her, with our family, our history, and it was beautiful, and it wasn't scary, it wasn't morbid, it wasn't weird. It was a normalization of something that people usually run from.
Yeah.
And it's empowering. It was empowering. She got diagnosed very quickly with brain cancer young. I think she was maybe early 50s. And she passed away within 3 months of being diagnosed. And in the meantime, she would have me over to her home, and, we would try on her wedding dress, look at her jewelry, like, what is this story, that story? We would have on like Neil Diamond and ABBA, and it was beautiful. She's left a very positive impact on me as a person, but I know that her passing led me to this calling. I remember her being in her bed in her home, and she was surrounded by her family and her loved ones. I remember brushing her hair, holding her hand, singing to her. I knew she could hear me. She had had conversations with me about how when she passed, please promise to have picnics on my grave. Please visit me. Please talk to me. I'll visit you by being a butterfly, by being a deer, by being the breeze. Just listen for me, essentially, right? I'm there. Looking back, that's where my calling started, with being
Sure.
kind of a steward of people, of the stage of people's lives. It's a transition, right? I mean, who knows? Who knows what's next?
Right.
But just holding that space for that person, I know that's where this end of life educator, death doula, was born. She birthed that in me. I'm not scared of it. I'm not scared of death. I'm not scared of holding that space. I find it very sacred. It's an honor. It is a calling. And I feel like that's my place. And I feel my most true self when I'm there doing that, when I'm talking about this. And I remember a couple of years ago, I started meditating a lot every day, multiple times a day, and waiting and listening. And I know there's something, I could feel something coming for my higher purpose. What am I going to do with my life that's meaningful, that fills my cup? It took a while. It's hard to be patient, but it found me.
Yeah. It really is that simple. When we look back and we take an inventory of all of the crazy, tough, difficult, embarrassing, wonderful, shiny things, everything we've been through, ultimately, it is giving us a breadcrumb trail of where we're supposed to be really showing up. And you said something earlier, which is you feel your most authentic self when you're speaking about this. How has that led you to where you are right now in your business?
I did a lot of inner work, right? I had this direction. I knew which direction I was going, but I had to really do a lot of work on myself in order to hold this space for people and offer this as a service with finding my voice, knowing what that sounds like, being comfortable with my voice, who I am, not shutting down when I've put everything out there and then people are like, okay, yeah, let's talk about it. So the more work I've done with that, the more I've been able to show up, not just as myself, but to be authentic in terms of my business. I want to be a resource for people.
Yeah.
A little bit of self-doubt at first, like, okay, who's going to want to talk about death?
Right,
It's
right.
like the number, it's the second fear, right? Public
Yeah.
speaking is the first fear,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
worked on mine. Yay!
Yeah, you worked on yours, and everyone listening, like you've got the number one and number two fear right in the world in the house today. So
Yes.
we're addressing the important thing. There is a bridge there between what you do and what I do, and I think
Mm,
that's really what you were absolutely exemplifying. You've done that inner work with your voice inside of Vocal Honey, and you are able to talk about it. Is it less scary now to talk about it?
it absolutely is. Instead of just being like, oh, me, you want to hear from me? Now I'm like, yes, someone tapped me and I can talk about it. Let's talk about it. And people are going to have to like shut me up about it because I just really love it. I feel kind of electrified. Like, let's
Yeah,
do this. I feel very jazzed up. I'm like, let's talk about death. People, I would think, be like, oh, no, no, I don't want to. People are so receptive to it. They're like, oh my
really.
gosh, like I didn't know that this was a thing or like that there's a person I could talk to about my fears of mortality, or I don't feel my family's going to honor this. How do I protect myself? Or I
Oh,
don't want to be buried or cremated. What else can I do? Well, there's thousands of other things you can do. I recall probably just last year walking down a very busy street in the city, very social. There's restaurants, people eating on the sidewalks, coffee shops, but it was in the middle of winter, but still nonetheless, where I am, people still make it work.
yeah, right. You
And,
have to.
yeah, I remember we were driving by this busy intersection, and this man, he slipped. He slipped on the ice and fell very hard back, hit his head, elderly man. And he just had his bag with him, carrying some books, and stopped the car, got out. No one else had stopped. As a student of psychology, I know if there's a bunch of people, no one's going to stop. So
That's
stop.
right. That's
I'm the
right.
person that stops.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
Yeah, get out.
Yeah.
And, we're trying to walk like a penguin over this really slick ice that he had slipped on trying to cross the street. My fiance and I, we helped get him up and get him across to the other side of the street where he was going and check on him, make sure he's okay. But within a minute or so, he collapsed and he started to die. He
Wow.
Yeah, so we're there with him, and thankfully there was a really busy diner on the other side of the street. We were flagging people down. Thankfully, there were nurses who liked to lunch there after a shift at the
Wow.
hospital. They came out, started CPR, and just they went through the whole thing. And I think that's also a place where I was like, wow, thankfully they brought him back, and the ambulance
Really?
came.
Oh,
They
wow. That's
did.
amazing.
They did, right in front of me.
Wow.
So it's very awe-inspiring, but it just really showed you could be going through your day and life is so fragile and life could stop at any time. So live fully, whatever that means, right? Live fully, live every day. And it's a lot of pressure to say, like, live every day as if it's your last. Like, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it
We
is.
don't need that.
I didn't really think about that until now. It is a lot of
It's
pressure.
a lot of pressure. I
Thank
mean,
you for
if you
saying
can
that.
do it, if you can hold that, good for you. But sometimes that's a lot of pressure. Some days we just want to make it. So maybe live life like every day like it's your first day and just be curious, explore something, and go outside of your routine. And maybe that's how you live a little bit. And I want death to bring families together, to create legacies and memories and specialness and traditions. I don't want to see death tear people's families apart, which is frankly what I've experienced too many times in my family. And it can be done better. It's just death literacy is really where my passion is with education, connecting resources, and just empowering my community.
What do you want to say to the woman who is like, I don't want to talk about death because it means I'm somehow going to hurry it up?
Hmm.
If I talk about the bad things in life, death being one of them, will I somehow put some bad juju out there? But no, it's about empowering yourself. And I bet you we're going to segue beautifully into what she needs to be doing to empower herself through your business. But just lay one on us, like get
Yeah.
all Buddha on us. And what does it mean to talk about death? And how does that help us live our lives?
I know that talking about death takes away the fear around it. When you call it by name, when you call it out, when you say and know what it means to you, you can take that fear away because you have the tools, you have the education that creates a safe feeling, an empowered feeling. Knowing what your options are, having all your documents in order, knowing what those documents are, it lines your life up
Mm.
because I think you can live more fully when you know all the scary things are done. You know where you want your funeral, what celebration you want, who you want to read your eulogy, what
Yeah.
kind of celebration you want, what kind of legacy you want. You can live your way and you can die your way. And I think when you know how you want to die, you can live fuller.
What? Oh my God. Wait, stop the record, stop the track. If you know how you want to die, you can live more fully. So you're telling us like call it out of the shadows because the
Mhm,
sooner you do that,
mhm.
you take ownership of your death, but you're really taking ownership of your life because it's like an energy suck probably to
Yes.
not to avoid those topics, to not use your voice
Hmm.
and avoid a certain topic is taking energy, which is stealing from your vitality, is what you're saying.
Yes, absolutely. When you're afraid of something, your power is going somewhere else, right? It takes power to hold that fear. So take the fear away, put that power and that energy somewhere else. Yes, you can live a more fuller life when you know how you want to die. No one gets out of here alive that we know of, right?
Yeah.
So let's just do it. I mean, we all do it. Everybody's going to do it, but you get
Yeah.
to do it your way. And really the number one fear people have other than death is being a burden to their family. Well, you most assuredly will be a burden to your family if you don't have these really hard conversations. Take ownership in your life. And part of that is your death.
Wow. I never thought about that. This weaves so perfectly into what you do is what is the legacy? Because that's sort of the last taste of you, right? Like death is like, it sort of puts the stamp on the last thing we remember about that person is
Mhm.
the last conversation you had with them. Was it an argument? Was it a hug? Was it a meal you shared with them? If we knew this was our first day on the planet, what is the legacy you want to leave us with and take ownership of that today? You know,
Well,
you are making me excited to die. I'm like, okay, maybe this is going to be really cool.
you know, I could absolutely see you doing a living wake. I
Okay, wait.
really
Tell me. What does this mean? Tell me. Okay, you're like
so
prophesizing. Okay, give me notes on how I should die really
well,
well.
well, I think because, you know, your power is your voice. You encourage other people to use their voice. And I think that's going to be your legacy. And you at any point in your life can have a living wake. And that could be next week, right? Invite all of your friends
Oh,
and family over, reserve a bed and breakfast by the lake for a long weekend, have a
wait,
dinner.
people really do this.
Yeah, people
It's
do.
not it's not selfish because isn't there like a
No.
Seinfeld episode or there's like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where one of Larry David's friends there,
Yes.
he
Yes.
knows he's
Yes.
dying, and so he has to do this fake mock funeral and see
Yeah.
everyone crying.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
like this guy is such an idiot for doing that. But I
No.
always fantasize. Who doesn't fantasize about what is it going to look like?
Well,
Who
I
is it?
think yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing, right? It doesn't have to look like that. Like watching people look at your casket or whatever and crying, like have it in a beautiful location while you're alive and while you can hear all the really fantastic things that people want to say about you, whether it's favorite memory, play a bunch of songs that remind them of you, have your favorite food, create memories, celebrate your life and your legacy while you're still here with your people. That is such a lasting legacy, right? People are going to remember that experience with you. And I think it helps people grieve better. Grief is very subjective. It's very different for every person, but I think that helps people die better.
Well, I mean, is that part of your job? Would I hire you to
Hmm.
help me plan that? Is that what you do?
Yes. Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
okay.
I can
Okay.
help you envision any kind of end of life that you're interested in, right? Whether it's you want to have a living wake or you want to preserve your legacy in some other lasting way. If you want to do videos to your family for after you pass, I can help you with that. What kind
Wow.
of disposition you'd like? Do you want a home funeral? Do you want to be cremated? Are you worried about green initiatives? What fills your cup? Who do you want to visit you? Do you not want someone to visit you? Do you want someone only to be 15 minutes, maybe once a week? What do you want your support system to look like? Like I've had conversations with my family, like I like taking a shower every day. Please wash me every day if I'm not able
Yeah,
to. You know,
sure.
my nails, like I like having my nails nice, my nail polish. Please put lotion on me. Always have a diffuser or a candle going and do it your way. Yeah.
So, for someone who is curious and wants to get a hold of you, what are a list of your services so that we can kind of get that checklist and come
Mhm.
prepared to ask you about it?
Well, I do have a robust list of services. I pride myself on meeting people where they are. They have some curiosity around maybe turning their opinion on mortality around, or maybe they're a little scared of death. So we'll take some baby steps with that. I can meet people in terms of doing bedside care for someone who is on hospice. People often want to pass at home, but families are not educated enough to do that. There is an art of dying in a way, and that art has been a little bit lost with history and life and technology. We've kind of medicalized death a little bit too much,
Yeah.
perhaps, and get more to the grassroots of death, meaning like community event, family event, making it more personalized self experience. So, supporting families, knowing what the transitions look like, resources, comfort measures, what to expect, those things that the best support people around you can often not be able to fully educate you on. And that goes as far as like legacy planning, funeral support, finding the right place for you, disposition options, advanced care planning, meaning your final documents. Your will is such a small portion of it. Majority of people think the final documents are really important, but like less than 20% of people even have a will, let
Oh,
alone
wow.
any of the other documents like healthcare proxies, final wishes, things like that. I also offer grief counseling, just support, someone to listen to.
Yeah.
Holding that space is often what people are looking for. Caregiving is a really hard job, very undervalued in terms of our community. It's kind of an invisible job. It's a great burden on people. And in order not to be burned out with being that caregiver, which is such an honor, just taking little breaks, I can help people with respite care. Very robust. So anything under death, we can chat about it, or I can put you in a direction if you're death curious.
Jessica, what a phenomenal. I can't wait to get this out. Let's do this again. You want to come
Yeah,
on the show again? Okay, we can do
I
a
would
part.
love that so much because
Okay.
I feel like there's such a, gosh, all the time.
Yeah.
Thanks to you. I go down, I get these like aha moments, right?
Oh,
Where
good.
and I follow them. It's become really important to me to, I want to open a conservation cemetery.
Wow.
Just come to me. I'm like, there isn't one here.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I could see that so easily. I think there's tons of people here who would want to do that. Oh
Yeah.
my God. How
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And that will require me to get someone to donate land in the
Wait a
land
minute.
use.
So, like, are you going to have like the picnic? Like, is there going to be oh my gosh. I can see it. I can see it. And oh my God, I get full body. Like, I can
Me too.
see you're
I
going
know.
to be there doing your services, but also it's going to be the external
Mhm.
vision lived out loud of you and your grandma having picnics. You're going to have like the
Mhm.
examples there of things you can do while you're here with your
Yeah.
loved ones. Like,
Yeah. I don't, and that came to me from just listening, holding space for myself. I've just with your coaching and your training, just listening to myself, creating that space and just marinating with those things and not ignoring like, oh, I can't do that. I don't know anything about that. And then just
yeah.
letting it go. No, like I can do that. Why can't I? I'm going to. So with the
Ah!
conservation cemetery, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to give myself a year to have someone donate some land and open a community conservation cemetery in this area. And I can already like picture it in my head with where it's going to be, what it's going to look like. It's going to be accessible. I really do want to end funeral poverty. Death poverty exists. People spend an absurd amount of money in the last few months of their death just for funeral death costs. And I want that to be more accessible and to be more community based.
Yes.
But yeah, that's kind of
Oh,
my little spark I have in me right now. One of the many, but
so cool.
yeah.
To anyone who's listening, if this is your vibe and you just felt this in your gut, get a hold of Jessica because she's looking for some land.
Yeah.
So I am so happy, so geeking out over a cemetery. Never said those words before in my life, but
Yeah.
like, cannot wait to see you bring this to fruition. I know that you will.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we have to call it here, or
Yeah,
we're just gonna keep
I
going.
know. I know. It was a blast talking with you.
Oh,
I always feel so connected with you and your energy, and I love it.
thank you. And I feel the same with you right back at you, truly.